Welcome to Mama Beyond Sight, where we allow spirit to guide us, discover hidden truths, and receive some answers to some of our questions. We realign, heighten our spirituality, and also our mental state of being. Mama Beyond Sight. Today's topic, dream journaling. And we are going to speak what is the difference between premonition, a vision, or intuitive. Here you can find spiritual guidance, meditation, inspirational thought of the day. We also have cowrie shell readings and tarot card intuitive messages. So join us. On to our topic. I'm going to give you a couple of different scenarios about this topic. What is the difference between premonition and or a vision and intuitive, right? Do you know? Let's talk about it. Maybe you might have a different interpretation to these words. What do you think? We're here to learn from each other, okay? So, premonition, and I'm speaking about spiritual premonition, and sometimes people do have this feeling, and they call it a gut feeling, and premonition is actually that, a feeling, right? Like when you feel something bad is going to happen, you don't know how or you don't know what it is, but you just have this gut feeling inside, deep in, some people get that little butterfly feeling. It could be a good premonition, a good feeling, um, it's kind of the same thing as intuitive. We go by feeling. What are we feeling? What is the energy that we're feeling? Many people might not know the difference, when they're having a premonition or a intuitive feeling, right? Is there a difference? Yeah, kind of. One gears more closer with spiritual guides and being awakened, right? But they both serve the same purpose in a sense, right? Once again, when you get a premonition, when you get that gut feeling, oh, I shouldn't go down that street. Many of us don't even listen to that, but yeah, that's a premonition. Intuitive, you're more set in you're more set in your feelings, in feeling energy, okay? Just as a empath, as I mentioned before, I could walk into a room or touch an object or meet a person, and instantly my little spider senses go on, and I could feel and uh, denote more or less, where this person's energy is being pulled from. Same scenario with a situation, a place, or a thing. I'll give you an example. One time I went to see an apartment, and as soon as I saw the building, I caught a eerie feeling in my gut. And I told my son, I'm not sure about this. He encouraged me to keep going. And we went up into the apartment. As soon as the woman opened the door of the apartment, I was like, oh no, 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 no. We're not doing this. No, no, no. I don't want it. The woman was like, oh, but you haven't seen the apartment. Come, step in. And I was reluctant to step in because I already was feeling all this negative, crazy energy, right? Uh, embodied with premonition and being an empath, right? So I was pushed and I walked in, but I couldn't move further from the doorway. There was a window at my right hand side, and I started edging towards that side. And I looked, it was the living room that we was in. And I told my son, I need to go. He says, "Mom, you're pale, you're sweating, and this is winter time." I told him I need to be taken out of here, you know. But the lady kept pushing me to keep going further back into the apartment. And I told my son, I stopped in the middle of the living room. I told him, recently there was a death here. He says, "Ma, how you know?" I'm visually seeing, I'm feeling this energy of this dead person. It was a male. I could see that he was laying on his stomach. And it seemed like he was taken out in a vicious way. So I told him, no, I can't. I don't want to look no more. And I had to leave the apartment because I got very, very sick, you know. And as we was going outside of the building, my son turned to the woman and asked her if anybody recently passed there. And she said, yeah, I didn't want to mention it, but someone was killed there in the living room. I was like, yeah. Those feelings, those premonitions, that gut feeling, if you're very in tune to it, it doesn't fail. It doesn't fail. Yeah. So premonition and a vision is two different things. Premonition is a feeling, and a vision is a visual um, dream, or you could even be in a waking state and have a vision and see, you know, uh, what the spirit is trying to um, clarify, what the spirit wants you to know. Um, I have many different types of vision, but going back to the premonition, I'll give you another example. Um, there's these two people that approached me one time, and I just went into that feeling mode, and I looked at the girl and I said, "Oh, you pregnant?" And she looked at me. She said, "Oh, how would you know?" I said, "I know you're pregnant." And the guy looked at her straight in her face and he asked her, "Are you pregnant?" And she said, "Yeah, I didn't want to tell you right now." I was like, "I'm sorry, I spoiled the event." But yeah, no, that doesn't happen all the time. It varies, but um yeah. Again, vision and premonition is two separate things. The vision would be something that you visually see, you know, could be in a dream or in a waking state. Many times I have I give you an example. In one of my apartments, I was having some problems uh, in my surroundings. I'll just leave it at that. And I was very stressed, and I kind of feared for my life. So one day I was washing dishes, and this is in my waking state, washing dishes, and I feel like someone was looking at me from behind me. So I gently turned and looked over my shoulder, and I saw a woman with long black hair and almost a bluish gown or dressed on, and her hands were folded out, you know. So I said, wait, I'm hallucinating. So I turned my head back, and then I looked again, and she was still standing there. I could see her clear as day. All right. And I'm visually impaired, but I could see her clearly. And she tells me, I didn't see her mouth move, but I could hear her say in Spanish, um, "You're not alone, my daughter. Don't be afraid. You're not alone." And I turned my head, and when I turned back, she was gone. Yeah. And I had a lot of mishap in that apartment that once again I thought I was gonna lose my life. But my spirit guides, they reinforce, my security. Yeah. Anyway, those are visions. You could be awake or you could be asleep. I'm gonna give you two more scenarios. And this happened the other night, and I'm wondering if there's a special message there or there's an urgent message for someone. I totally don't understand too much of the vision. Anyway, it was almost morning time, and I was half asleep but half awake, if that makes sense. So I could hear someone tell me, um, the person sounded like they were outside my window or in the corner of my bed on the headboard, and it told me Texas. And I said, what? He said Texas backwards. I'm like, Texas backwards. He says, Texas, don't go outside. Don't go outside. Don't go outside, and don't look up into the air, to the sky. And then in that same vision, maybe an hour later, I hear a woman that tells me she took out 48 out of the bank. I don't know what that means, but I went and looked up the number 48 in the book of Psalms, and it tells us in a short definition I'm going to give you. It says, we have a need to reflect on God's glory and praise. And I was like, wow, well, there might be a person needing more prayer, more faith, or we as a community, we need to hang on and reinforce our faith, and not let anyone knock us down or any situation deter us from that, because our God is in charge. And with that, I'm going to end it today, my lovelies. If you have a different interpretation to any of these visions or dreams, or you have a dream or a vision that you want to uh, share with the community and see what interpretations you might get, you are welcome to do that. Just leave me a comment in the comment box below. And thank you to my new subscribers. Mama Beyond Sight welcomes you home. And together we are a force. We are a beacon of light. And we need to share that light and faith out to others. So once again, thank you. And stay tuned for our next video. All right. I am your host, and my name is Sandra. Remember, a small star in the dark sky shines brightly. And when you shine your light out into the world, you want it to reach far and wide. Make sure the light at home shines bright and strong. And with that, I'm clear, my lovelies. Be blessed and be well. I am your host, and my name is Sandra. Come on. You know what's coming. You know. Come on, you're so cute. Come on. Yeah. Kissy, a hug, a smile does the body good. And it enforces and highlights that soul. Come on, have a great day. Give me a kiss.